This is your girl Pinks, Pinks. Praise is needed. Keep speaking. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. This is a very special night because I know there are a lot of people that are looking for their tax refunds this year. And I know a lot of people are concerned whether or not they're going to either make or break this tax season. So here at the Pink Show, we decided to bring you guys a tax expert who is phenomenal. Her name is Kya Sophie Scott. We call her Kya. She's been our tax preparer for many years, and I love her service. I love her dedication. She's very reasonable and very reliable. And we have her on the Pink Show tonight so that she can give you all the updated information. I know a lot of you are very nervous because you have not pulled the whole year with your finances, and that's fine. That's fine. So let's figure out how we can bring this tax information that you all are concerned about together. And I'm going to introduce you all to Kya Sophie Scott. She has her own tax service, and she's been doing taxes and not just taxes. She has other businesses also that you guys may be really interested in hearing from her. So I am going to bring Kya onto the broadcast so that you all can be able to ask questions if you have questions or whatever. So without further ado, let's bring Kya on. Hello, Miss Kya. Hi.
Hello.
So
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining the Pink Show. I have a lot of times, and just to give you a little update, the Pink Show, what I do is I bring exposure to small businesses as well as artists, entertainers, and so forth who would like to have a platform and to be able to provide services. A lot of times we fail due to lack of knowledge. So I always think as an individual, because I don't know everything, and when it comes to money, all I know how to do is count it. I can create an Excel spreadsheet and I know how to do all those things. But when it comes to numbers and number crunching, I just can't. I can't do anything with it. So I decided that, our people, especially our viewers, should know and should have the most important information that they need to be able to process their tax preparations this year, questions they may have regarding if they should file and so forth and so forth. So I'm glad you joined us. I am so glad you joined us. Thank you for joining the Pink Show. I have a picture of Miss Sophie, and that's her information. We're also going to premiere information at the bottom of the screen for all those who are interested as we go into conversation in regards to Sophie's tax service, and that is her email address. So Sophie, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. How did you get involved in becoming a tax preparer?
Good question. So firstly, let me thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on your platform. I think that what you're doing is a big deal. I've seen you grow it from where it started, where it was just kind of a concept and an idea, and now it's just like a full-on thing, and I'm excited about where this platform is going with you and being on this journey with you. Yeah, no, that means a lot. Like, I like to watch people grow, and when you asked, I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess it, like, for sure.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. Not so much even for the exposure, which of course we all love and need it, but for the information, just like you said, it's so important to get it out to the people. So I actually tripped into taxes. So in 2008, I was in school, and I had stopped working another job, and I was just trying to look for another job. I was looking for a new position, and I wasn't even in finance. I was working at food service. I was going to school for biology, nothing to do with finance at all. So in 2008, I walked past a tax office on Bel Air Road and Airman Avenue, and they had a
Okay.
sign that said
Whole
no
neighborhood.
experience in the system. Yeah, right in the hood, the neighborhood, but in the hood for sure. I was getting off the
Exactly.
number 15 bus, and it was right there, and they were like, no experience, and I just walked in. I was 19, and I said, all right, what you need from me? And they said, fill this application out and show up to this building on Monument Street on Monday. And I was like, Monument Street from one day to the next? Okay. So I went there. That was a whole training. So it was crazy. I was just like, what? So yeah, I started there, and then they trained us all together and then sent us to separate offices, and they liked my skill set. And so they said, we're going to send you to a brand new office by yourself because we feel like you could help launch this office. And that's how that all began. So I stayed there for 5 years, and then I left there and went in 2013 to a Liberty Tax branch, which is of course a major franchise. Different rules, different client base. Learned a lot of things. I managed an office there for 5 years, 6 years, 2013 to 2019.
Okay.
And I managed their office. And then in 2014, I actually launched Sophie's Tax Prep on the side, which we can talk about that if we need to. But I left there in 2019. And so no more franchises. I only do tax preparation for me and myself and I. And that's where we are. So in the game, quite a bit of years.
Yeah, and it takes dedication with that. You know, it takes a lot of dedication. Because I believe tax preparer is detail oriented. You have to be very detailed. But I think it becomes repetitive as you do it. You just throw them numbers out there like bam, bam, bam.
That's true. You know what I mean? Until the government does what they do and they knock your whole life away. You're like, oh shucks, this is different. So you definitely have to stay on your toes and like, oh wait, you can't write that off no more. You can't do that anymore. Wait, this is against the law now. Like, it's not even just like you can't do it. Like it's against the law if you do this now. So you're right. You definitely have to pay attention to the details, but you know, you get the basic structure once you get the basic structure of it. And it is hard because it's seasonal. So I used to train people and hire people at Liberty. That was my job. And people would come and then they would go and they would just never come back. And they would say, I want to do this. This is something I want to do. But because it's so seasonal, in the off season, you get into something else and you forget to come back to it. So easy to do that. But for some reason, I never was seasonal. I always did it year round.
What do you think tax preparers should be aware of? You know, as far as their taxes and filing and so forth. What are some of the things that they should be aware of, especially now with the IRS being in so high demand with the government and everything, you know?
I think that the number one thing I think is that you need to pick a preparer who is not just a preparer. Because you can get these seasonal people who take a 6-day course and then they're experts on tax preparation. And that can be a good or bad thing. You need to be mindful of who you have preparing your taxes. It's a big deal when you pick that person. It's almost like picking a wife or a husband to me, because you can't just let anybody control your finances in that way. And I do not play with the IRS, and I do not play with my mama. And all of my clients know that, okay? I don't play with those two people. So you want to be sure that you're picking the right person. The second thing I would say is to be mindful of what you're probably used to calling allowances. Allowances don't even exist anymore. They haven't since 2017. But on your W-4, let's call them allowances. And the amount of money that's coming out of your check week over week, that's going to be the second most important thing to you when it comes to reconciling your tax return. Okay,
and how would that affect those that are unemployed that actually have to? So my question, outside of the other question, because I know when we talk, you know, I was trying to get away with having to file for unemployment, but you said you have to file for unemployment, and I think a lot of people feel like they have, because this is the information that I had, 5 years. Up to 5 years to file unemployment, but you said no.
Let's talk about the rule. Okay. So for every year that you file your taxes, you have to include every source of income that you have. You can't just select this source of income and then leave out other sources of income. So that means that if you have interest income from your bank, if you have unemployment income, employment income on a W-2, if you have non-employee compensation on a 1099, if you did your sister's hair for 9 months, whatever type of employment you have, and whatever type of income has to be on there, because it's called an income tax return. So they're trying to figure out what your income from the year was and how they need to tax it. So when you start to do things like, I'm going to leave this out so I can get the most refund, they're going to know because it was reported to them that you made that. So they're going to, the IRS is going to send you a letter, say, hey, guess what? We tax you on this amount of money, but you actually made this amount of money. You got this amount of refund, but you were supposed to get this amount of refund. Now you owe us that money back.
And they will find you.
And they will find you. 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, they will find you and they will get you and they will garnish whatever it is they need to garnish to get their money. So the rule that you're thinking about, though, you have 3 years to file your tax return in order to get an actual refund. So if you always get a refund, you have 3 years that you can skip and then file it, get your refund. Right. You have 5 years to actually file it before it becomes a real problem for you, because after 5 years, you can't get that refund. You can still file it only to reconcile whatever your tax balance is, but there's no refund for the last 2 years. So 3 years, you want to definitely file. 5 years, you can file it, but the last 2 years, you will not get a refund if you're due one. Now, that rule is the same for people who owe every year, but every year you don't file, your penalties go up because your balance is negative and they want interest on the money that you owe them.
Oh, wow. So you mean to tell me, for someone, and this is a question, for someone who hasn't filed in about 3 years, but decides to file now, they can get penalized?
If they owe a balance, if they don't usually get a refund back, they will get penalties on each year that they owe. Even though they haven't even filed it, they're going to get a tax penalty tacked on to whatever their tax bill is. But still file. That's just the thing. You have to do it. You don't have a choice. You have to do it, no matter how scary it might be. You have to do it. And that is why it's important to get somebody that you trust so that they can make sure you make the best of the situation. Even if you owe, I always say, listen, you might owe. I'm going to do what I can to reduce what you owe. Right. But let's look at going forward. And this is where tax planning comes in. Let's look at going forward, how you got in this situation to owing every year and what we can do to get you from owing and also still make sure you get enough money to manage your life.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Are people being taxed on the stimulus checks? Are they still being taxed on the stimulus checks? And what about the stimulus for newborns? You can enlighten us a little bit with the stimulus, because this is all new to us. Like stimulus, like $1,200, $1,400, that is no money. But how does that affect us when it comes to filing taxes?
So it's a good question. So first, be mindful of the fact that it's new to us too, as tax preparers. It's our job to be the experts. We're doing a lot of reading. We're in our group chats like, hey, what's this? Hey, did you ever do this? What's this new 7202 form? 7202 is kicking people's butts. But anyway, I'm not even going there yet. As far as stimulus,
I don't even know what that is. When it comes to numbers, you say 1023 and 10.
It's like, what is that?
I can give you my direct deposit information. That's
true. And that's the longest.
You will take good care of me. That's it. Like you have been.
I'm about to say, and you know I will. Good days, good times and bad times. We've been through the trenches together, and that's wonderful.
And I've gained. So it's
here we are.
How does that affect us?
Right. So the answer, long and short, is no. It does not penalize. You do not get penalized for getting a stimulus check. The reason that your preparer is asking you whether you received it is so that if you didn't get it, it can be included in this return. That's just it. You're not being penalized. It's not counted as a part of your income. They're not taking anything away from you for having that little bit of money. First of all, just like you said, it was a little bit. So they just want to know, because if you didn't get it, I need to do certain things inside of your return to tell them you didn't get the full rebate. And it's called a recovery rebate credit. That's exactly what it's called. So you want to get the recovery rebate credit out
Recovery,
to the person. Right. So you can
recovery
get
rebate
that.
credit is what you need
That's
to
what it is.
implement in taxes.
Yes, if you didn't get
Okay.
your stimulus, your preparer should be entering the recovery rebate credit for you. And you are correct. For newborns, it is $1,100. The reason it's
How
$1,100
much
is
is it
because
for
remember,
newborn? How much is it
1,100.
for newborn? $1,100.
Right. You know why is 1,100?
I
Because
don't have
for
any more of those.
children, you don't have
I don't have any more of those.
no, neither do I. But it's
Oh my
1,100 because the
goodness.
first time you got 500 for the child, and the second time you got
Mhm.
600 for children. That's why it's 1,100, and it comes right into your tax return
Oh,
once you put the child in. They want you to get the
right.
stimulus money you should have gotten for having that child in that year.
Okay, so there are people who did not get a stimulus check
Mm-hmm.
at
Yes.
all. They have to file in order to get their stimulus check, correct?
Yes, they do.
Now,
Yes,
suppose
they do.
they don't have income.
Suppose they don't
Are they
have income.
still right? Suppose they didn't have any income, but only the unemployment.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. If you only had unemployment, unemployment is income. It's not earned income. So there are two types of income,
Right.
earned and unearned.
Okay.
It's not earned
Okay.
income, but it is income,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly why you still have to file it. Even though you didn't earn it, you have to file it. Like it is important.
Oh,
And I also would like to say, because it is income, they are going to tax you on it. You need to be having them taking taxes out. Say yes to taking taxes out of your unemployment. Say yes. Yes, take the
say
taxes
yes.
out.
If you're filing unemployment, please, by all means, get taxes
Say
taken out. I did
yes.
not.
You did
Of
not.
course you did, but I did not because I needed all my coins, every dime.
And a
You
lot
know,
of people feel that way.
yeah. The thing is, with dependents, unemployment should have given extra amount of funds towards the unemployment, right? For dependents.
Right.
Okay, I have dependents, but I did not get extra funds towards my unemployment.
You did
So
not.
that is why, no, I did not. So that is why I did not say that I wanted taxes taken out, because I needed every dime that they were giving me. But now
Right.
it's affecting me because I did not file for taxes to be taken out of my unemployment. So now I have to do whatever it is I need to do when I file my taxes. And they're now
Right.
going to take the taxes out, right? Is that
Exactly.
how that
Yep.
works?
That's pretty much exactly how that works. Whatever it is they determine should have been taken out, they're going to take it out from your refund. That's
Okay.
the long and short of it. That's a basic structure. It's a little more complex than that, but that's the basic structure. They're going to compare what the government determined should have been taken out with what you actually taken out. And if what they actually took out from either your W-2s or from your unemployment is more than what they said you should have been taking out based on your tax bracket, then you get a refund. But if you paid less in your unemployment and your W-2s than what they say you should have been taking out from your based on your tax bracket, we know what tax bracket is. We've heard that before, which is the income you make. They put you in a bracket. If you took out less than what they said you should have taken out, and you don't have enough credits or allowances and what am I trying to think of? If you don't have enough credits to cover for it, you're going to owe them pretty much.
Wow. That's a lot. What there's a new W-4 emulator. I don't have that information in front of me, but I can premiere it on the screen. Can you explain to us what that is? For those who don't, like myself, the W-4 emulator. I know what a W-2 is.
Right.
I look forward to that every January, but I don't know about a W-4.
That is true, yeah. So the W-4, you know how you get a new job and you have to fill out that federal tax form? It's separate from state. That's the W-4.
But they call it something else, right? Is it another name for it? So when I get a new job, and I have to do my tax information, that's the W-4.
That is your W-4, yes.
I thought they called it a 10 something, a 10.
No, your 1040 is your actual tax return document.
Okay, so I'm thinking of something else. So my W-4, the IRS sends you a form to fill out for tax exempts. When you do your tax exempts for federal and state, that is called a W-4.
For federal, it's a W-4. For a state, it's a W-9. But
got you.
Yeah.
We fail due to lack of knowledge. When we go for jobs, we just fill in. They say fill in information out so you can get your money taken out your check. We don't look at the W-4s and the W-2s and things like that. So it's good to know that information.
How you get messed up when it's time to file your taxes, because you're like, I didn't know. And it's a valid answer that you didn't know, but it also affects you in the long run. So what the new W-4, let's talk about that just a little bit, because I've been on a conquest to educate people that ask me how many allowances should I put down, 1 or 2? And I'm like, allowances don't even exist anymore. So I know you're not up to date. In 2017, when we got our new great president, he was so fantastic. He decided to change all of the tax laws.
Just nothing.
He was so wonderful that he just changed all the tax laws. He took out the exemptions, so we don't have exemptions for the people anymore. He just left the standard deduction. He did raise it a bit, and that was supposed to be for your benefit. Sure, let's go with that. He took out a bunch of credits, added a bunch of other stuff, told you couldn't write off employee business expenses anymore, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, when he changed the tax laws, because he did, and that 1, 2, 3, 4 exemptions, he took the exemptions away, which means your allowances on your old W-4 is no longer valid, because we don't even have exemptions in tax returns anymore. They produced a new W-4 in that year, and every single job was supposed to have every single person fill out this new W-4 so that the correct amount of taxes would be taken out. You clearly never got it from your job, as did not millions of Americans. Nobody heard about it. They just slid it under the rug. And in that first year, a lot of people owed a lot of money because they were taxing them based on an old tax plan and not the new one, which would have been implemented by the new W-4.
Okay.
The IRS also published a website, which I did send you the link to, which you said you would post, where everybody who didn't get it from their job was supposed to go by their self to this new website, type in their information, and it would tell them how much they should be getting taken out based on the new tax law. That is what the new W-4 estimator is. It is an electronic form. When you get into it, you'll want to have like your most recent pay stubs, so they'll know how much you're making. If you have multiple sources of income, you'll want to have a pay stub from each source of income.
Right.
And then they'll ask you about basic information. So dependents, they want to include things like the child tax credit. And so there's literally like a sliding line to say, like, if you want a refund of $1,000, this is how much you need to take out of your check every week for the federal. And then you slide it and you say, if you want a refund of $0. So if you just want to break even and you don't want a refund, you don't want to owe, it'll tell you exactly what you need to give to your job to take out. So you break even based on the new tax laws that Trump implemented in 2017.
That is so good. That is so amazing. Like I will go. What I would do, I am going to share that information on my social media. The link. I am going to share the link, and I will also tag you in on it as well, so that if people had any additional questions, they can reach out to you regarding that, because that is really good and it's really informative to know, so that you can prepare yourself, because it was a lot of changes in 2020 with the tax. And I know even as a tax expert, you had to adjust.
Still adjusting. Like I said, in the groups that we're in, we're still relying on one another for information. Like, do you have this? Do you know that? Is there a seminar coming up about this? Like, who's speaking about that? So even amongst the tax preparers, you're absolutely right. It's still a lot of growing pains and a lot of learning. And that's why at this time, it is the most critical for you to have the proper person doing your taxes. I know that a lot of people in previous years, you just go to TurboTax, you type your stuff in, and you move forward. But this is not from a professional standpoint. If I were just not even a tax professional, this is not the year to do that. It's just not.
No, it's not. And not to play around with it. Like, you really need to talk to a tax expert. And this is why I have you on here, because you are amazing and you're very detailed and very honest. Because I have heard the word no, and I don't like no when it comes to money, but I don't want to owe nobody either.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's good that you do that. And I actually, for those who are watching me on my live, I actually have been with Sophie for some years now, and I've actually gotten information, during the tax season about how I should do things. And you guys really need to reach out to her with questions that you have. And if you do not have a tax preparer, please, by all means, Sophie's tax prepare service is available for you. There's her information, there's her phone number, and her Facebook page. She is amazing. She's amazing. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed, because she's been doing this for a long time. And it's good to know that you can trust someone to do your taxes, because we don't, like, my daughter's 18 years old and she has no clue about taxes, and she works, and I am trying to explain to her, you didn't make enough to file, and and how do you relay a message to those who do not make enough, but they still are inquiring about their stimulus check? Are they still out? Or?
Well, okay, so it depends. If they didn't make enough to be required to file, because we do have certain income thresholds where you are required to file, but they took out taxes anyway. So box number 2 on your W-4 form, you can file just for the purpose of getting that money back. So if you're a person who doesn't have to pay taxes because of your income, and they took taxes out anyway, you can file just to get that money back. It could be $600-700. It could be $100 or $200. It doesn't matter. It's your money to have back. So you can file simply for the purpose of getting the money back that they took from your actual W-2s.
Okay, I have a question. So a parent has a child who works, and they are usually filing them every year. The child didn't work the whole year, but the parent would like for the child to file their their taxes so that they can get a stimulus, but the parent is still wanting to file the child because the child is still a dependent. Is that you do 6 months and 6 months, or how does that work?
Okay, so
because there's a lot of things going on right now, because a lot of children are still home.
Right. So let's talk about the stimulus qualifications first. I'm going to break this down into 2 parts.
Okay.
The stimulus qualification for a qualifying child is that the qualifying child has to be 17 or under. That 17 has always been a number for the child tax credit. 17 and under is how old the child needs to be in order to qualify as a qualifying child on their parent's tax return. The problem.
Is that the EIC?
No, that's
is
not
that the EIC. Different.
The CTC, the child tax credit, that's different than the EIC.
Okay.
So EIC is earned income credit. CTC is child tax credit. They go hand in hand in a lot of ways, but the child tax credit only qualifies to children who are 17 and under. So if they are 17 and under and you're claiming them on your taxes, you can claim them on your taxes, and they can also file their own tax return just to get the taxes back that we just talked about. But on that second tax return, they do not claim themselves for as an exemption. Even though we don't have exemptions anymore, they don't claim themselves for an exemption. They're only filing for the purpose of getting the money back. A lot of people don't know that You can claim a child and they can file their own tax return as well. And there's no problem with that. But the child's tax return has to be done a very specific way in order for the parent not to have any issues with claiming the child as well. Now, with this scenario, we're talking a child that's 17, under 17, not even 17 and under. We're talking a child that's under 17. The parent would get the stimulus check for that child because they are a qualifying child, even though they file their own tax return, right?
Okay. I'm sorry.
If the child is between 17 and 24 and they're in school, so if they're in the rest of high school or if they're in college, they're still a qualifying child, no matter how much the child makes. A qualifying child it's not based on income. A qualifying dependent is based on income. And a dependent is somebody who's not your child or who is your child who's over 17 but is not in school. This is a lot of tech school, and I know I'm going all over the place.
Okay.
So if you have a qualifying child,
Go ahead.
So if you have a qualifying
child,
okay.
You're going. Go ahead.
Okay. So if you have a qualifying child, they're under 17, you're going to get the stimulus for them. If they are over 17 or between 17 and 24 and they are in school and you claim them on your taxes and they file for themselves, they're still your qualifying child, but they are over 17. There's no stimulus check for them.
Because you filed for them as a...
Correct. If they're 17 to 24 and they're in school and you claim them on your taxes, that means they fall in the category of a qualifying child, but they're over the age of 17, there's no stimulus check for them. Now,
okay, that's good to know.
If they're over 17 and they're working on their own, you're not filing them, they just get their own stimulus check.
So if they still at home, eating up your food, and flipping your light switch on and off, running your cable, you file them on your taxes, they are considered your dependent, right? Until they're out on their own, basically.
If they're under 17 or between 17 and 24 and in school, yes.
Between 17 and 24. Gotcha.
And in school at least half-time, at least 5 months out of the year.
For those of you who are watching, if your child is over 17 to 24 years of age and they're still in school and they're still eating your food and flicking your lights on television and watching your TV, you are still eligible to get monies for them when you file your taxes. If you have any additional information based off of that, you need to reach out to Sophie because she is the one that can give you the accurate information based off of that, what she said. So I want you guys to know that those hungry kids are still at your house. You can get monies for them also. Okay, that's my disclaimer.
I love you using the word monies.
Money. I just need this on record because it has to be a few times, you know.
Yeah, this is true. This is a lot of people don't know this. So now if they are over 17, but they didn't make enough to qualify to file, and you pay more than half of their expenses of living for the year, you can still claim them, but they're not a qualifying child. They're a qualifying dependent. And they can't have made over, it's usually like $4,050. It went up a little bit this year, but if they made if their gross income is over $4,050, then they're pretty much on their own. You really are not supposed to be filing them anymore.
Okay, that sounds amazing. I think after this hard year of hardship, everyone is really looking for a refund and anticipating monies, you know, as much as possible to pay their bills and so forth.
Right, absolutely. So, go ahead, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
It's vital. It's vital information.
Yeah, definitely.
So when does that big day kick off for those monies, for those tax returns to start rolling in and those direct deposits? Those inquiring minds that want to know when they can start filing taxes and when they're going to start getting their monies.
So that is a loaded question that I'm not even going to shoot any bullets from my mouth with no exact dates. I will not do that because y'all will have Sophie out here. Well, Sophie said thus and
And
so.
call me
I'm
and
not
you
going to
said
give
my
no,
direct deposit.
nope, not no dates. You know how to use the website. The website will work, but
Yes.
general ideas. So let's really talk about it. Tomorrow is the first day that they are actually processing tax returns with the IRS. This is the
Good.
latest that I've ever seen it. I've never seen them move it to February
Yeah.
for processing in my life. This is a bananas tax year. We just all know that we're all in this together. Your tax preparer is not crazy. They are not holding your money more than likely. We're trying to do what we can do and we're moving forward. So what we are able to do is pre-ax. You submit it and it's pre-acknowledged. That's what a pre-act is. As a tax professional, you have the ability to do pre-act. So they pre-acknowledge it before the IRS actually opens up. So that on the actual processing date, which is tomorrow, February 12th, then they can go and start the normal process of releasing refunds. You know
Okay.
that it usually takes 7 up to 21 business days, which is up to 3 weeks for the
Right.
federal to come back. The state usually comes back in 1 or 2 weeks, as long as you don't have any personal hiccups or anything like that. That is the general expectation. But also, the PATH Act that was passed, PATH, is protecting Americans from tax hikes, PATH. That was
Okay.
passed in 2018, I want to say. That actually prevents people who are getting the earned income credit from receiving a tax refund before March 1st. So that EIC that we just talked about,
Right.
a lot of people get it. It's a big boost for us in our tax refunds. If you are a recipient of the EIC, based on the PATH Act that been passed, y'all heard me say a year that wasn't this year. This ain't have nothing to do with Corona. It's been
Right.
this way.
Right.
Based on that act that was passed protecting Americans from tax hikes, because the influx of money in the United States goes up whenever the taxes comes out because people start to spend.
Right.
So inflation,
Wow.
we got to think about the price of living. We got to think about all of that. Everything changes in the tax season because it's so much money to be spent. So they're
Yeah.
supposed to be protecting people from us earned income credit getters. And that's why they pushed those tax returns until after March 1st. So by law, no person who gets EIC can get a tax return before March 1st. It's not gonna happen.
Wow. It's not happening.
It's not happening. So you can expect that to be the case. They slipped that right under everybody's noses. It's not super old. Again, it wasn't. If it wasn't 2018, it was 2017. No older than that, though. Definitely not 2016. And forgive me for forgetting which of those 2 years that happened. But if you notice, like I used to get it as soon as I file it. 3 weeks later, I get my money, and now it just takes forever. That's because of that law that was passed. So you can't get it if you have EIC until after March 1st, and then your processing date will start to show on the IRS website. Up until then, you might get errors, you might get not received, your tax return is still processing. It looks real crazy to you because they're not going to release it until after March 1st. The state will go forward just fine, but the federal will not. But the state can't go through until the federal goes through. So if you haven't gotten your state and you're usually like, my state usually comes in 2 weeks, that's because the IRS doesn't process until tomorrow. So the state can't go through if the federal doesn't go through.
Okay,
so the state won't even start releasing 2 weeks.
Oh wow! So technically, the checks, the monies don't start really coming to like the first week in March for federal.
Correct for federal, yeah. And this year is actually going to be about the same for state because remember, the state takes 1 or 2 weeks from tomorrow when the federal processes.
Okay.
And so we're mid-February right now.
Yeah.
1 to 2, you're looking at early March for both of them at this point. And I will say this, the IRS has a lot of chatter about expecting delays. Here is why. Because you know that people like you and I are going to be honest. There are the fraudsters who are going to say, I didn't get my stimulus, and they really did. If for some reason you think they're not going to check that, they will. If you don't think that they're going to hold your tax return up to check that, they're going to hold your return until they make sure it's right.
Yeah.
So
You can't play
that
with
may
that.
be
Can't play
exactly.
with it.
And because of the few, the many may suffer. So because of the few people who want to go that route and try to be that way, it may be delayed for everyone. So all I'm saying is we can give you estimates of what's going to happen, but there's
Right.
chatter in the IRS that there will be delays this year because of the new credits, because of the look back credit, because of the recovery rebate credit, and because that 7202 form that I was talking about that gives sick and safe leave to self-employed individuals who had employees who qualify for sick and safe leave.
Do you think this is going to be a tough year for tax preparers because
Yes,
of the different changes?
yes, I
I'm gonna
do.
be praying.
Thank you. I received those prayers in advance, let me tell you, because the people need their money and we want to get it to you, but we don't have any control after we submit it. We just don't. So
Right.
hitting my phone at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, asking me why your refund ain't showing on the website or why it's not in your account. And it said it would be.
Yeah.
I Sophie Scott, aka Kya Sophie Scott, can promise you that I don't have it. I don't. I've
He
never
does
submitted
not have it.
anybody's tax return in my life. I have worked in banking and finance. I worked for Merrill Lynch during the day.
Oh my
I
goodness.
listen, I do not play with people's money. It is yours, and I promise I won't keep it. I promise I'll do my best to make sure it gets to you in a timely manner. That's the only thing I can do.
Yeah, that's whew. And you know, nowadays, because of what we've been going through in the pandemic, you just got to be so patient. Like, if you haven't learned anything else, I know for a fact people had learned how to have patience because, you know, I got a little skeptical because I'm like, look, unemployment, I cannot wait for the government to send me an unemployment check. I cannot, because they can put a whole stop on it just like that, and you don't have any
Yeah.
money.
And they did that for a lot of people who they determined were fraudulent and they weren't. And that messed a lot of people up.
I went through that because
Yeah, that was the word.
the system had to be updated, and when it updated, some of the documents were lost and they did not attach to the new system that they had upgraded. And I actually had to wait 2-3 weeks for a check. And
Wow.
that's why, you know, I'm back on the job market, and you know, God is good, and because I just can't work under those conditions. You see what
Very,
I'm
very,
saying?
very stressful. And them cutting it off and then deciding to extend it, and you don't know, whether it's going to come next week or not, or the call-in lines were crazy, the internet was crazy when people filed their claim. It was a crazy year, but I'm getting through it. And what I will say to the people who got unemployment, who qualify for earned income credit too, I did want to just mention this. There is something called the look back credit right now that's happening that your preparers should know about and should be able to work in your favor. So earned income credit, which is that EIC, which gives us the bulk of our federal tax returns if you qualify for it. The earned income credit is based on earned income. We talked about there being 2 types of income, right? So unemployment is unearned income. So you can't get the earned income credit based on unearned income. It doesn't work that way.
Yes.
Right. So you may have had $20,000 of earned income last year that got you a $6,000 refund, but this year you got $4,000 of earned income and you got $14,000 of unearned income from unemployment. So they would base it off of the 4,000, and then your refund would be like this. Well, I will say the IRS and the government did think about that, and they have what is called the look back credit, where they will use your earned income from 2019 and give you the earned income credit based on that one.
Okay, that's good.
That is great. So if you didn't make enough to qualify this year, or you made a little bit and you got the rest in unemployment, that's okay, because the look back credit says, let's just look at what you did for 2019. Although we're going to put your new figures in your tax return, right, on your 1040, your unemployment will be there. Whatever you worked for, whatever portion of the year that you worked, that money on your W-2 will be there. But for the earned income credit purposes only, they will look at what you did last year and they will pay you accordingly.
See, I didn't know that. And I'm sure a lot of you all may not know that it's what is it called again?
It's called the look back credit. Like look back at me, the trainer.
Like look back at it. Like go back 2019. I need to look back and see how much money I made in 2019, so you all can pay me accordingly for my taxes. Exactly. Basically, that's what that is, and I never knew anything about it. This is some really, really good information. I am truly thankful and amazingly blessed to be able to get this information for my viewers and for people who don't know, you know, who like myself, who do not have, who's not working, you know, who has got or whatever because of COVID, you know what I mean? So this is really good information. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a 2-minute break.
Okay.
When we come back, I would like for you to provide all of your information where people can reach you.
Okay.
Your phone, your business number, your email, and how they can contact you on social media. I'm just going to take a 2-minute break because I have to do this because I have to pay bills.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with Sophie. I call her Kya. Sophie, in regards to her being an expert, a tax expert, and I am still live. And if you have any more questions for her, please feel free. She's going to give you the information so that you all can reach her, or you can send it to me directly, and I can send it to her because this is so important for you all to know this. So give us 2 minutes. We'll be right back. The Pink Show. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. And I am truly, truly thankful. I want to show you guys my shirt. It says, I am powerful. And this shirt was created by a good friend who has a daughter, and I call her my niece, and her name is Tanaya. And she is an entrepreneur. She's running her business. She's running her show. She makes t-shirts, and she also empowers young women. I am powerful. And it's pink, which is my favorite color. Tanaya is an entrepreneur. That is her phone number, 443-415-6165. You guys, if you are interested in the shirt or hearing more about her organization, it's amazing. She's a young entrepreneur. She's on fire, and I love it. I'm very excited about where she's going with this because she is so empowered and so determined to get a message out there to a lot of young mothers who are becoming entrepreneurs. This also would go back to knowing about your finances also, because when you start a business, you really should know about how to manage your monies and your finances. And that's why I have Sophie on the line with us today, because you guys need to understand it's just not about spending money. You have to know how to save, you have to know how to balance, and you have to know how to budget. So Tanaya's information is here, 443-415-6165. You can also find her on Facebook as well, Instagram. On Instagram, she is whoisshe._. That is her Instagram information. Tell her Pink sent you. And that I'm rocking the I Am Powerful shirt. Let her know that I am powerful. You are powerful. So, and I want to thank you guys for just joining us. I have a cute little meme that I would like to show. And it says, tell me more about how you do your taxes. This was a cute little meme that I thought when I saw this in regards to taxes. And I am going to bring Miss Sophie back so she can see this. Tell me more about how you do your taxes. This was, I think this was the guy from Willy Wonka. Is that Willy Wonka?
I think so, yeah. That's cute.
I don't know. So yeah, I found this. I thought this was really, 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 really cute to show. Tell me more about how you do your taxes. I tell you, that's a whole lot in a nutshell.
Yeah.
To know all these things. And can you please tell our viewers all the services that you can provide outside with Sophie's Tax, being an expert at tax preparer, all the services that you can provide outside of taxes, because this is all year long. This is just not a January through March thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you have information that you can share, that you can enlighten our viewers, other information that you are able to provide to them in your contact information.
Sure thing, definitely. So what I specialize in is tax planning outside of just tax preparation. That helps you to do exactly what we've been talking about, figure out what you need to do during the year so that you can manage well when it's time to file, and also maintain a work-life balance and a healthy spending balance. I do help with budgeting and finances. I do give financial education seminars. Limited this year because of COVID. I only did 2, I want to say, in 2020, but I had in 2019 over 500 volunteer hours where I was able to give out financial information and work with different organizations with volunteering. And so financial education for the youth, the minority, and the low-income communities, that is my passion. It has always been my passion. So I like to give information for free. You can ask me anything. It doesn't cost nothing to answer a question. I get people who ask me tax questions and don't use me for their tax preparation. That's completely all right with me. I do not mind.
Right.
Outside of the tax world, the umbrella is STP Enterprises. So I do business consulting. I help with bookkeeping. I can help you with bank reconciliations. I can help you to get your LLC and your small businesses launched the correct way. So your articles of organization, I help with 501c3 planning and getting the applications done for that and having them successfully approved by the IRS. A lot of young people are launching these businesses. We talked about that a little bit before the show, that I love what's happening. It's like a big boom. We're doing what we want. We're becoming entrepreneurs. I love it. But the problem comes in when someone asks you to legitimize your business with records, you don't have it. Right. That's where your problem comes in. You're making the money, you got it, you got clients, you're on Instagram and you're on social media and TikTok and everything. But when someone asks you to legitimize your business, what's your employer identification number? Are you registered with the state properly? Are you registered? Are you registered properly? Do you got a sales and use tax license? What kind of business license do you have set up? What's the structure of your business? And then tell me about your income. Do you have your own personal accounts, and then you have business accounts? Are you mixing and mingling? Are you transferring between the two? So I help you to sort of figure that out when you're launching your new small businesses, and that's in STP Enterprises. We got some more things that are coming up, but right now those are the basic services. Girl, you on fire. Yeah, those are the basic services that we can do. Yeah, and so fault me for not being on IG. I know you said to give out information. I know I am on IG, but I don't want to give out my IGP. It is STP Enterprises, but I'm still building that page.
That's fine. That's
okay,
fine.
But I am on Facebook actively.
Yeah, and that's good, because every source of social media right now is important.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Yeah.
Every avenue, and I would like to give you a little bit of just a little tidbit of information that I think will be resourceful for your business also. To create a YouTube page if you don't have one.
I don't.
Because YouTube is where it's at.
Right.
And I would suggest to provide this information daily when you can, on different topics that would explain what the people need to know to prepare themselves for next year. Like you said, even with providing a tax ID number, like a lot of people don't, like me, I do have a business. Of course, I have Pink's radio show, and I've been doing this for 10 years, but I've been under someone else's umbrella. When I branched off and I became the actual Pink show for myself, I did do trade and assessment where my name is legally binding, no one else can use it. And I do have a domain no one else can use, but I don't have a tax ID number. So these are things that people really need to understand that have small businesses. And this is part of why I do what I do. Like you said, you can get all the free information. You're not going to ask them for anything, but you know your blessings is still going to come because this is what we are told to do. This is how we, like they say, you reap what you sow. You give this information and you're going to reap it back in another way. That's why God is who he is. And I am so thankful that I'm not the only one to have that mindset, because people are always reaching out for something.
Right.
Anything. And that's why it was Pink's Broadcasting and Consulting, because I too was consulting small businesses, but not on the level of where you're consulting on the financial standpoint. Like I told you, I don't do anything but count money when it comes to finance. That's it. So
yeah, but you just leveled me up, because I never thought about getting a YouTube page. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I thought about going live on Facebook and on Instagram and giving information that way, since we have to be in this virtual world. But let me get on top of that.
You can always tell people to like, comment, and subscribe. Those are three things that you really, really need. I'm telling you, like, comment, subscribe. I've known people who just use YouTube as a factor to deliver a message, and now YouTube is paying them because they have so many followers.
Right. Yeah.
And they become creative that YouTube is now paying them. And this is where I think this is what is going to help, because you can do a tutorial on YouTube and you can do step by step, even with your seminars.
Yeah, you're right.
I won't charge you for that one. That's
why you're a real one. Thank you for that. No, for real. Like that is a big deal.
And we could talk offline if you have more information regarding that. But I've learned a whole lot since I became my own business person, and not have anyone run out for me. Normally when I did shows, I had my own engineer. All I had to do was show up. Now I learned the basics. So many stuff, so many things I've learned. And big shout out to Charm City Direct, my partner, E. Digger, who also has a show, a radio network. He's doing amazing things. He helped me branch into that. And honestly, a lot of stuff I didn't know, I now know. So my objective is to each one.
Right. Yep. Definitely.
And that's what it's about, building a community and educating those on information that may not know. We fail due to lack of knowledge. Absolutely. I've learned a lot tonight with you.
Oh,
I've learned a whole lot.
So that's at least one person. If nobody else learned anything, at least one person did, and that's you, and that's a big deal. But if people still have questions, just like you said, Facebook, Sophie's Tax Prep, 443-526-1360. That's my cell phone number. So Sophie's Tax Prep at gmail.com. People randomly email me all the time, and I'm like, hey, where'd you get my email address from? And they say, I saw it on this forum or what have you. I don't mind. I'm like, hey, love to assist. Just curious of where you heard about me from, or where you just dropped into my email. Perfectly fine by me. I do not mind. I will pick up the phone. I will call and talk to you, and we can figure out whatever it is we need to figure out to find out what's best for you, because making money is not often the problem. I know a lot of six-figure earners who can't manage their money because, like you said, they don't know. So money management is more important than just income. It's definitely important to manage it. And how can you manage it well if you don't know?
Right. And that's important. So knowing that, I will be reaching out to you. Not the same season.
No worries. I'm here. You know it.
I'm gonna shame the devil. But you never leave me, and you always come right back into my life. But I really need you throughout the year, and I'm glad to know that you are more than just my tax preparer. there. I'm glad to know that you do more than that, because I really need you and I trust you. And you are very trustworthy and you're very reliable and very upfront and determined. And I love that about you. And I am so thankful that you were even able to provide this information for a lot of people who do not know, have no idea, or just totally lost. Sophie's number is 443-526-1360. 443-526-1360. You all can, this show will show on my Pink's Diamond page on Facebook. You all can get all the information that you were looking for. If you missed the show, because I see some of you are still on here, please, by all means, tune in and log in and look at this show, because it's so informative. If you have any questions for Sophie, her number is 443-526-1360. Also, I'm going to get her to share her email address for us, Miss Sophie.
It is Sophie's Tax Prep, so SOPHIES tax TAXPREP @gmail.com.
And that's at the bottom of the page also. Sophie's Tax Prep @gmail.com. Send her an email. Tell her let her know you saw this show and you are very much interested in knowing more about what it is you need to do to make sure you're comfortable in filing your taxes this year. I want to thank you, Miss Sophie.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Pink Show, and I am truly looking forward to hosting another show with you after tax season, because we need to inform a lot of the small businesses who are connected with me on the Pink Show about getting their tax ID numbers and basically learning how to manage the business.
Absolutely.
I am very overwhelmed and very thankful that you were able to take the time out to do this in this busy tax season, because tomorrow, honey, it's showtime. It's going to be the first day for taxes, and I know you're going to be all over the place.
Nope, never. Very organized, very structured. I've been all over the place. I'm joking. It's been crazy already.
I'm going to send you a text. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be taking, the Pink Show will be taking a hiatus for the next 2 weeks. If there's anyone, or if you know anyone, Sophie, that's interested in hosting a show broadcast on the Pink Show that are small business, they are artists, they have a gift that they want to get exposure, by all means, please have them contact me on Instagram. I am Pink's page. You can find me on Instagram, or you can find me also, Katrina Freeman. I am on Facebook, CUTRINA Freeman, or you can also go to www.pinks.com, where you'll be able to input all of your contact information, and I or my intern will reach out to you. Shout out to my intern, Deja. She is also on radio. She attends Hofstra University in New York. She's been very diligent with working with me since I started this new thing back in October of last year. And she's now gone off back to school. So she's left me to do everything on my own until the 2nd of March. So instead of me stressing myself out, I'm giving myself a 2-week hiatus until she can return to assist me. But she's amazing, and she's been holding it down. And I'm so thankful and so blessed to have her to assist. I also want to give a shout out to all the sponsors of the Pink Show. You know who you are. It's quite a few. And I want to say thank you again, Sophie. This has been a rough year, but everyone is looking forward to those monies coming in.
Those monies, yes.
Monies,
They'll be here.
monies. We should make a T-shirt to say "Those monies."
Those monies. I'm on it. I make T-shirts sometimes too. Well,
Look
me and
at
my
that.
team.
Look
Not
go.
I.
Those monies.
I can't even say that. I don't make T-shirts. But
Well, my
I
wife
do have a T-shirt maker in my home, and I have the ability to do it. But my sister she's the master T-shirt maker. Free for Inspiration, event decorating company. I don't even want to go into that, but yeah, we can talk about that later.
Fruitful decoration, inspiration.
Fruitful Inspirations.
This is your sister's company.
It's a joint venture between her and myself.
Awesome. Tell her, have her people call my people, and we can sit down and talk about it.
Okay, done and done.
Thank you for joining us, Sophie. I am thankful for having you. I know starting tomorrow, we're going to be very busy, and just my prayers to you is just continue to do what you're doing and being available for the culture, for the people, for all people who are lost and can't figure the things out, but they want their monies. Because I'll be honest, when I first started filing taxes, I didn't care about no exempts. I didn't care about no deductions. All I wanted to know was, what am I getting back?
Right. Yeah.
Now, since my children are grown, because I had 5, and them 5s was good. Now they're grown. The money's is starting to come down.
It's different. Yeah, it is very different.
I'm thankful because Owen can be, I'm sure it could be a real, real bad thing when you have to owe the IRS and you worked all year long and now you owe them. Yeah,
and it's stressful too. It is stressful. It's always on your mind.
It is because you work. But, that's why you're the tax expert. And that's why for those individuals who are logged in on my page, who have questions, please reach out to Kya, Kya Sophie Scott on Facebook. Reach out to her, inbox her, let her know that you were a guest on the show, that you have questions that may not been answered, or you need clarity for the questions the answers that were given. Right. Thank you, Ms. Sophie, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I am grateful that you had the time to sit and talk and interview. We look forward to seeing you again.
I will be back. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, and you have a blessed evening.
You as well.
Here's Sophie information. I'm going to take you guys out. Here's her email information, her Facebook information, and her phone number. Thank you guys for joining the Pink Show. Remember, stay prayed up. If you want something you never had, you got to do something you never done. And you got to thank God and step out on faith. This your girl Pinks, PINKS. Praise, power, and prosperity. Because we're going to say prosperity tonight because we're talking about the money. Is needed. Keep speaking. Thank you guys for joining us. God bless. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. And if you need to reach me, please feel free. PPPINKS88@gmail.com. We will respond back to you shortly. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Take care. You too. Thank you.